Hi guys, today I want to show you an updated version of my overworld end portal sand, gravel and concrete powder duper. So this farm is not only smaller and simpler to build, it's also faster. It's completely symmetric and you can turn it on from the bottom right here, and you're gonna dupe 12 gravity blocks every 8 game ticks. Let's also head to the end side, and here you can see a lot of items coming in. So you just need to break the obsidian platform that would always regenerate once a new player enters the end, and then the blocks are broken by those trapdoors right here, and the items would drop down. So you can see here I used 2 trapdoors, because if I open one trapdoor, the gravity blocks when they're in entity form could actually pass the trapdoor, and that's why I need a second one. So obviously I can't just drop the powder blocks on, for example, soul sand with water on top, because the concrete powder would turn into concrete. That's why I have to break the items like this. Yep, also added a small little storage system, but that's really up to you how to make this. This gravity block duper only works with gravel, sand and the new concrete powder blocks. If you want to dupe dragon eggs or anvils, you can check out my older version, which is slightly slower, but works with all types of gravity blocks. This gravity block duper generates 108,000 gravity blocks per hour, and it uses the end portal blocks that you can find in every stronghold. Since there are multiple strongholds in each world, up to 128, could actually run multiple of the machines at the same time. It's possible to remotely load chunks and keep this machine running while no player is near there. Gnembon will show this in a video that will be released soon. Once it's out, you can also find it in the video description. So you can easily generate 1 million gravity blocks per hour with multiple of those machines. If you just want to use a single machine, then I would recommend to stay in the overworld near the machine and load the end dimension a little bit. So all the items are now broken in the end dimension and also processed. You just need to go to the end dimension first and break the obsidian blocks right here, and then return to the overworld. And the obsidian block wouldn't regenerate if you leave. In order to keep the end dimension loaded while the player is standing in the overworld, we use a simple hopper loading chunk grid. So the item would generate at 100 0, so this is the center chunk, the red one, and you just load a 5x5 area with those simple hopper chunk loaders. And this way the end dimension is loaded and all the items are sorted in those chests while the player is standing in the overworld. Otherwise, if you wouldn't load the area around it, then the entities would keep piling up and at some point crash your game. So you need to add the hopper chunk loading grid. So on a side note, it's also technically possible to use the same concept for the end portal blocks that you can find in the end dimension. This would have the advantage that the entities that landed on the overworld side would land in the spawn chunks, which are always loaded. This way you don't need any hopper chunk loading grid. And the second advantage is that you get more end portals here, so you could make a farm which would be slightly faster. I think 144,000 items per hour should be possible with this larger portal. Disadvantage is that you only have one of those portals and you might want to use it for something else, and you would also need to remove some bedrock blocks. So one last note before I start with the tutorial, this farm would also work in 1.11. So now let's start with the tutorial. So first of all, you need to remove those end portal blocks. I've already shown how to do that in my last sand duper video, so you can find the link in the description how to do that. Just gonna punch them out in Creative here. Now we need to make a platform below the end portal blocks, which also extends to the side, like this. Then we leave an air gap of 2 blocks in between, below the portal, and we add an upwards facing observer and another one that faces downwards. And then we add a sticky piston right here and add a solid block for lever as a switch. This will turn on the clock. Now we need a repeater on 4 ticks. Then we need 4 rail blocks like this and 2 observers which point into blocks, and then some blocks on the side of the observer and gonna put redstone dust on both of those. Then we need some normal pistons right here. Another normal piston right there. Then we need some slime blocks. And create such a structure. On top, gonna add a redstone block. And this piston here would send the blocks back. Now comes the trickiest part. We need to add the boats where the blocks would bounce against. So normally a boat would teleport to the end dimension, but if there's a passenger in there, you could drive through the end portals. So over there I used some chickens, and this way the boats would stay. And yeah, the disadvantage of the chickens is that they would lay eggs, but the advantage is they're really easy to get. Just need to throw some eggs. Other mobs you could use are, for example, renamed endermites, or for example, if you have some pigs nearby, you could also breed those. So let's try to get a pig in there. And now here comes really the tricky part, to align those boats perfectly. So this is really tricky. So we're now gonna place some blocks on this side here. Here I added already this little platform with iron bars in the middle. So now we need to get into the boat of the pig, and I'm gonna go in F5 mode, and I'm gonna drive against the iron bars. Then I'm gonna back up, so the hitbox is perfectly aligned with the iron bars. And then I'm gonna go perfectly straight and bounce against this wall right here. And then I'm gonna back up a little bit. Just like this. In order to get out, you could use ender pearls. I'm gonna just switch to spectator mode. And I'll do this again for the other side. Let's get pig in there. So once again, bump into the iron bars, back up a little bit, align the hitbox perfectly with the iron bars, then go straight, drive against this block carefully, then back up a little bit, yeah, like this. So next we want to see if we aligned the boats correctly. Can remove those blocks again. Here placed 3 different gravity blocks, and just turn the machine on. And now let's head to the end dimension, and if you get all 3 types, then this part already works. So yeah, as you can see, we get red sand, yellow sand, and blue concrete powder. So this works. Now we could go back to the overworld side. Let's turn it off again. And now basically you're gonna mirror this over here. So it's just a repeating pattern now. So again, repeater on 4. Then 4 rails, doesn't matter if golden or activator. Then we need 2 observers. We need 2 observers just to make sure the update order is right. Because this sticky piston here is powered in the same tick as the pistons at the bottom right here. And we really want to have this one extending first. So that's why I use 2 observers and the same line of rails. So again, add blocks right here on the side of the observer. Redstone dust on top, more pistons, and another piston right here with the slime block structure. Oh, I placed those too low, sorry. Yep, like this, and piston sends this back. Now let's just disconnect this rail right here. And before we test it out, I guess of course we need to add the other 2 boats. So now let's get another boat and a pig in there. I think you have to bounce the pig. That's a little bit weird. Okay. Now again, do the same. Drive against the iron bars. And then align it straight. And drive against the other boat and back up a little bit. So you should still be able to place a block right here. And now we can try it out. Now let's use the same colors, doesn't matter. Okay, this is disconnected. Now let's see if we also get all 3 gravity blocks. Yep, perfect. And let's head back to the overworld so we can add the next boat. Let's turn this off again. Boat and pick, and this time it worked immediately. Let's go into F5, drive against the iron bars, then go straight, drive into the other boat, and then back up just a little bit. Okay, now we could remove that stuff here and build up the last two dupers. Yeah, units. Again, repeater. The rails, servers. Just on top. Pistons. Slime blocks. Okay. Now let's also disconnect this for a while and turn this on. And this time we don't get white sand. Great. So guess I'm gonna have to fix this. Let's see what I can do. Turns out I didn't use any white sand at all. Of course we don't get any. So let's place one here, turn it back on, and I'm very optimistic that it would work. Yep, white sand. Okay, now let's add the last duper. Oh, over here. Okay, let's turn it on, and hopefully it will also work for this side. Alright, so all 12 sides should work. Now we can go back to the overworld once more, so it's a little bit tedious I guess, just set a bed and get a new spawn point right here. So now we can connect those rails again. And you could do one final test if you want to and add 12 different colors. But since I didn't nudge the boats or anything, it should be fine, and the overworld side is completed. Now let's head back to the end dimension. I guess I can leave this running even. So here we are on the spawn chunks, by the way, that's why this is still loaded without a player being present. And let's take a look at this system, so to break the blocks. And this is quite simple, let's just build it up on the side. So we need this 4 high column, some buttons on the first and a third block from the top. Then the iron trapdoor alignment is important, so against this block here. Then we want to add a clock, so here we have a dropper and 3 observers. Points to this block, and then we're going to add repeaters on top. So for 9 red sticks of delay in total. Here we have another repeater, and past the top trapdoor. Of course, you also want to have some blocks around it, so the items don't fly out to the side. Here's where they come in. Then we add the water stream at the bottom right here. Any ice block. And it just goes off somewhere. Okay, also close this. And now add a lever right here. So now it would activate once, and once you turn the lever back off, then it would start the clock. And here you can stop the system again. Yeah, and this way you break all the items without concrete turning into hardened concrete, or the powder into no. So that's the end of the tutorial. I hope you don't have any problems with lighting the boats. It's really the tricky part. I've done it 3 times with this setup and it always worked for me. I hope it also works for you. If you have some issues with the boats, you should always be able to place blocks around them. So if that's not possible, then it wouldn't work. But yeah, it's really tricky to align them perfectly. So there should always be a little gap in between all sides, but still you should be able to place blocks. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.